Children drawn into the violence on both sides of the Syrian conflict as fighting continues to escalate in Aleppo. Mexican drug cartel leader claims complicity of CIA in cross-border drug trafficking. And Miss World Mongolia, our hope for success at the 2012 pageant. Good evening, you're watching TV8's Mirror News. I'm Sebastian Dawn. A disturbing development in the Syrian uprising has seen children being pressed into armed fighting on both sides of the conflict. As the level of violence rapidly increases and casualties mounts, the youngest and most innocent parties in the conflict have been found brandishing weapons such as automatic rifles and wearing military-style uniforms. Children are also being taught to chant slogans both for or against the Assad regime, bringing large crowds to fever pitch. This report courtesy of RT's Marie Froschner.
A place for these kids, boys and girls, is at the playground. But someone dressed them in a military uniform, hung them with real guns, taught them what to say and put in front of camera. This little girl, 4, maybe 5 years old, she's almost crying as people behind the camera push her and other kids to chant anti-Assad slogans. Out of 19 kids, half remain silent. This footage is just one in a series of clips posted online showing the ugly face of war unfolding in the country. Recent UN report says both sides in the Syrian conflict, the rebels from the Free Syrian Army and the government, are using children in their fight. We can see children among pro-Assad demonstrators. 4-year-old Rayan is praising his motherland. And this is a microphone the kid's carrying, not a Kalashnikov. Rayan's father couldn't imagine that his youngest son's participation in a patriotic rally would put all his family in danger and lead to the murder of his other 2 children.
They threatened us many times. Once they wrote on my house's wall that the time has come. Then they sent me a symbolic loop. Then they put the picture of Rayan on Facebook, promising 500,000 Syrian pounds to those who bring him to them. We couldn't imagine they'll come to our home.
Yazem wanted to prepare for exams and went to sleep in the living room. And this is where they smashed first. There were shootings and they cried Allah Akbar. I hid under the bed.
Yazem told me a week before his death that he feels he'll not finish his exams, and even if he does, he'll not get a certificate. He anticipated everything. He told me once, "Mom, they're gonna kill me."
Amman Shamia's elder son was shot dead on the way to hospital as he was trying to get help to his injured brother. Little Rayan escaped death only because that night he stayed with his grandparents.
I was crying because they killed Yazem. I miss him a lot. He so wanted to get a good certificate.
The funerals of the 2 teenagers had an honor guard. This is what they do here in Syria, the family says, when someone dies as a martyr.
Why they tried to kill us? This is their freedom. If you are not with them, you'll be killed.
They wanted to kill us all, like Hula, and then say this is the government.
We will not lose anything. That's enough. We lost a lot, not ready to lose anymore.
Yaman has 3 more brothers left. He has something to lose.
In this cemetery we found at least 8 fresh graves, small ones. Vulnerable kids are becoming victims of grown-up games. In this conflict, they've been used as human shields, they've been forced to take up arms, and they've been killed for a purpose they barely understand. And no one can say for sure how many more will die until a way is found to stop the violence. Marie Froschner, RT, reporting from Syria.
The US Central Intelligence Agency and other international security forces don't fight drug traffickers, a claim made by Chihuahua state government in northern Mexico, adding they only try to manage the drug trade. Allegations of official complicity in the drug business made to news agencies are nothing new, However, an official spokesman for the authorities in one of Mexico's most violent states going on record with such accusations is unusual. The Mexican spokesman also said it's like pest control, and if the authorities kill off all the pests, then they themselves will be out of a job. Under the Merida Initiative, the US Congress has approved more than $1.4 billion in drug war aid for Mexico, providing attack helicopters, weapons and training for police and judges. The widespread view linking CIA to the drug trade, true or not, speaks volumes about officials' mutual mistrust amid ongoing killings and the social damage in Mexico. The CIA in Washington made no comment on the current round of accusations. One of the cartel members spoke with Al Jazeera about his experiences in the drug trade.
38-year-old Roberto, which is probably not his real name, moved to Ciudad Juarez when he was 6. He never went to school, and by age 12, he was recruited.
I was working in a mechanic's workshop and saw these guys who always had money, fancy cars, and went to good restaurants. One of them gave me a bit of drugs to sell, and that's how it started. First 500 pesos worth, then 1,000, then 2,000 pesos. Then I recruited my brother, who was working at a factory 12 hours a day for the minimum wage. My dream was to be someone big.
You mean more important?
Yes, more important, and I achieved it. I went far in the organization. I rubbed shoulders with the important people. Before, the business was more peaceful. There was a lot more money on the streets. I even bought racehorses and raced them. That's a drug trafficker's dream. The racetrack is where the traffickers hung out and I beat some of the biggest fish. That was my dream. Now, they're all dead. I think I'm the only one that's still alive.
When did things start getting ugly, I ask?
When the war between the cartels began. A lot has happened. They killed my son and my father. And before that, I lost a brother. He was 14, 15, and then the other brother.
That seems to have become the norm here.
We worked with the Juarez cartel, but then another guy in the cartel tried to take over. We were buying by the kilo and had a lot of people working for us. And so the war began. And it's still on.
He looks nervous, always looking over his shoulder.
Business is not as profitable anymore, and it's much more risky, more violent. You're always afraid that the very people you sell to are from the other rival side.
Have you killed people too, I ask?
No, I don't like killing people, except the ones who killed my family. I had them killed, but I didn't do it personally. I don't stain my hands with blood.
Now he says he wishes he'd never got involved in the business, although he doesn't seem to know how to leave it. Do you think the new government can change anything?
The law shouldn't get involved with the traffickers. The law is mixed up with them. That's why this doesn't end. When I was at the racetrack, the police would come and take people away and hand them over to the rival traffickers.
What about keeping the army involved?
They too come in and begin stealing, and there's always someone who gets sucked into drug trafficking. Be it army soldiers, the federal police, everyone gets involved. They can send in more and more, but as long as there's one rotten apple, it's the same.
This Tuesday, the Miss World 2012 festival launched with a spectacular opening ceremony and live concert. The Miss World pageant, which is in its 62nd year, will be held on August 18 in Dongsheng, Inner Mongolia, within the Republic of China. Over 40,000 people attended the brand new Dongsheng Stadium to watch the event, including many of China's leading celebrities. The 120 contestants of the world representing their respective countries have been confirmed to compete at the event, which will continue for almost a month. The final grand winner will be announced on August 18th. Representing Mongolia is 20-year-old Hosobata Bayerma. Bayerma is an actress from the Best Color Comedy Group and previously won the Miss Mongolia 2012 beauty contest, where she was qualified to represent Mongolia at the international event. Bayerma currently works as an actress and hopes one day to work in Hollywood. While we wish her all the very best of luck. To the Southern Hemisphere now, an Australian man who extracted his own tooth and then auctioned it off online has been ordered by a court to do 200 hours community service. Peter Michael Finn, who used the alias Fat Aussie Bastard online, claimed the money raised from his sale of his incisor would go to the Royal Brisbane Children's Hospital. He even appeared on Australian national television to promote the stunt. The winning bid on eBay.com was just over $6,500, but the money was never donated to the hospital or any other charity. He was later charged by police with conducting an unlawful appeal and converting the money for his own use, following an Office of Fair Trading investigation. A conviction was recorded and he was also sentenced to 6 months jail, suspended for 12 months. It seems Mr. Finn, aka Fat Bastard, in attempting to swindle the public, perhaps bit off more than he could chew. Well, that's all from Mirror News tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the program, and you can see all the week's news stories repeated again in a catch-up program tomorrow night, right here on TV8. I'm Sebastian Dawn. Good night.